Alright, you're joining us at Surdyk's tasting table, and with me is Drew Fuller, one of my coworkers. I'm Noelle Starr. We're on wine staff here at Surdyk's, and today we're going to talk a little bit about every other white that's made in Italy besides Pinot Grigio. Everybody knows Pinot Grigio, but it's time to get some of our customers introduced to some of the other grapes that are being grown and produced in the area.
Exactly, and there's been a real kind of a renaissance the last certainly 10 years with Italy. Pinot Grigio paved the way, at least in the U.S. One of the wines that we'll start with, in fact, the Soave, was certainly popular in the 60s to the 80s. In fact, that was probably dominant. But now it's just a whole emergence of these small regions in Italy that are that have some similarities with Pinot Grigio, and that they have they're certainly clean, crisp, beautifully focused white wines, but in this case, which is the fun part, is they are distinctly different as well. Okay,
so people who like Pinot Grigio, this is not going to be a terribly big departure, but it might broaden their Italian perspective a little bit.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's our first wine?
So the first wine is Inama Soave. Okay. And this is one that these, certainly father and son who own this winery, are key pioneers in kind of the resurgence of Soave. It's actually a DOCG now region, and it's in the very northeast of Italy.
Okay, so Soave is the region. What is the grape that we're going to be tasting?
The grape is Garganega.
Okay.
And it has to be at least 70%. Can have some other indigenous grape varietals in. Inama feels strongly that they want that nutty flavor to come through, so they want 100% Garganega. In addition, these are old vineyards, so 30 years old. His father planted the vineyards, and while he was working for another pioneer, Roberto Anselmi, and he took this time to really pioneer again what made this unique, which is moving it up into the hills, away from the valley floor. And doing that, you get a lot more limestone and much more focus in the wines because of that soil.
Great.
Beautiful aromatics on the wine.
A little fuller body than I would have expected, but very nice. By no means a heavy Chardonnay style, but just a little more weight to it. So maybe something for along the lines of chicken or maybe cream pasta dishes. This would be a nice partner too.
Yeah, risotto, shellfish.
Sure, absolutely.
Would be a perfect partner for this food.
All right, so now moving on, we've got a wine from Giacomo Vico, who is a good friend to us at Surdyk's here. We carry his wines exclusively, and Giacomo occasionally will come into the store and do tastings, so we love to have him here. And this is a fun bottle. It's called Favorita. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Which is fun. This is a grape varietal that also has known in other parts of Italy as Vermentino.
Sure, I think people are familiar with the Vermentino grape. So Favorita is just another name for that grape.
Exactly.
And tell me a little bit about where Longue is and how that affects what the wine will show in the bottle.
Yeah, this is in the Piedmont, or Piemonte, as the Italians will say, and it's very near the town of Alba. So northwest, and again, in the hills, coincidentally. So these are more steep vineyards. It's all stainless steel. All of these are. There's no oak.
Much lighter in the glass than the Soave was.
It does, however, get a fair amount of time on the lees, so it does have some contact with the skins, and that might give you a little bit of creaminess here, as well as a nice acidity.
And a little bit of a soft edge on the finish, which is nice. It's not something you could certainly sip by itself. Not something you necessarily need to have food with, but
no, but without a doubt,
very refreshing.
You know, some of the similar things in terms of the shellfish certainly would be a great pairing with this wine, and lighter hors d'oeuvres, and of course on its own. It's not so big that you can enjoy it without food. Okay,
and this last bottle, I think, I'm glad we're talking about this, because I think this is confusing for a lot of our customers. The only thing that says on the front is TOH, T-O-H with an exclamation point. What exactly does that mean?
Well, they shortened that because they used to refer to it as Tokai.
Okay.
And in that case, the local neighbors are not too far anywhere. Hungarians are famous for that grape.
Sure.
And weren't too thrilled that the Italians were co-opting what they made them famous.
Kind of like champagne in France being used elsewhere.
Exactly.
Got it.
So I'm not sure how far it went down the courts, but they happily obliged, and now it's just the TOH.
Okay, so this is the Di Lenardo. And is Tokai the grape, or what is the grape that's going to be in this?
In this case, it is the Friulano.
The Friulano, okay.
Friulano grape, and which has an affinity with the Tokai.
Ah, okay.
So in this case, again, you have maybe a little bit more acidity on this particular wine.
Yep, nice and bright.
Brightness, but there's still a round or more of a mouth-feeling, full-bodied wine.
And a nice finish.
Without a doubt. Long finish, sustained, and again, goes great with all the things that we like to have in the summer.
Excellent. All right, so there you have it. 3 different grapes that you may not be familiar with coming out of Italy: the Soave, the Favorita, and the Furlano. You can find them in our aisle 5. Thanks, Drew.
Yeah, absolutely.
Salute.